Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, June 28, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern. When we believe that something controls us, and we feel that there is something outside of ourselves that's doing everything, the conflict and confusion and the stress and the fear. As I've said many times, we're a creation. We're creative beings. We create. That's why we are. We create. And all the species and all of the universes create. Now, in physical form, we're much more able to create, so I'll put it that way. Not that we as gods don't create, but in the physicality or the material, we use these bodies to what? Create. And interestingly enough, the more creative that we become, the more godly we become. When our creativity comes to a max, a climax, when each moment of our lives are filled with creativity, we live in God. Okay. So it's like God is us and we are God. Now you would believe or feel or think that with that understanding, we can basically do anything, manifest, desire, creation we want, with no limitations, whenever we want. Yet, when we look at the structure, if you want to call it that, of this planet currently, in this now, and you look at all the confused people, because they're just confused. They're not bad monsters. They're really confused. So they jump to whatever direction they're told. We, on the other hand, those of us who are awake to a certain extent, we don't jump to a direction when we're told. We communicate with the God that we are within these bodies. There's nothing that is overseeing us. Period. Nothing. The one God makes up all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. So we see ourselves. We feel ourselves. We breathe ourselves. And we are. Collectively, all of us, those of us who have this understanding, and it doesn't mean that all the rest of our brothers and sisters are failures and nasty and bad. And it means that there are parts of us as the whole that need tending to. Now, understand that we never die. I believe everybody understands that are awake to a certain extent. So, that's the case, that we never die. What are we so afraid of leaving the body? Do you see the connection? We've become so obsessed with the physical material that we fear leaving the body, when the body is only temporary and the God is forever. It's eternity. And the real us never dies. So when you look at both of those and you say, okay, so I know the body is temporary. It's impermanent. And I know that I'm the God within this body. Now, I haven't totally discovered the God within me, but I've chosen to go that direction. This is how this civilization, or any civilization, any species of intelligent, high enough light energy, this is the journey for all of us, every one of us. It's the journey for the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans. There's many others. You know, we have connecting universes that go on forever, whether they be meta universes beyond physical, or quantum, or super hyper quantum. I mean, a particle can be so small that even a microscope cannot detect it. The most powerful microscope in this planet's history could not detect it. Yet, it could house an entire universe. When you fall into something that, let's put it this way, say you fall into a deep hole, right? And the hole, and then when you reach the bottom, it seems to have some kind of a liquid down there, and you're kind of floating. Now you're looking around and you're trying to figure out how to get out of that hole. You look at the walls of that hole and you say, they're all smooth. How do I get out of this hole? Now we're only thinking of what? What's before us, what we can see. And we're not looking beyond that. You realize that you could, we all have the ability, form footsteps, lodges within that wall to carry you right up and out. But see, since we're focused on what? We're focused on the fact that the wall is smooth, there's no way to get out. And we figure, well, maybe I could dive down, but I don't know what this liquid is. It doesn't feel like water. So I could dive down and take my chances to see if I could find what? An exit? We're caught in this. It's kind of a trap. And the trap of it is that we aren't aware that we created it. Whatever has been done can be undone. So in this life, many of us have had many. All of us have had more than one. But the key to this trap is that we never have a memory. Don't have a memory. And what happens to us is that we're caught in this circle jerk where we're constantly reincarnating and we don't know why. Oh, we're told certain things, right? We're told things from even those who have left the body don't know why. Because every time they come back in, they don't remember. And all of us, from time to time, visit this. And we communicate with ourselves, the God within, and saying, what's the sense of incarnating, right? And then doing reincarnation. What's the sense of that if you have no memory of it? Does it make any sense to any of us? Any of us gods? Does it really make any sense to us? No, it doesn't. There's no sense to it. It's a trap. And the trap is formed by these creepazoids billions of years ago. And the trap basically is why are they doing this? Why are these creatures doing this? There's really no true path. They're doing it because they can. That's it. I know that sounds strange, but pretty much fact. And so here we are, a bunch of gods, billions of us, and we're reincarnating incessantly over and over and over and over and over and over again. Now, most don't. I can guarantee you that most of this surface population on this planet called Earth, there isn't many that understand that that's not right. They just flow with it. Okay? Many are fearful of what's after life after death. Fearful, scared to boots, just scared to leave the body. And the only reason that is because they're ignorant to the fact is that their true self, the God within that body, is eternal, it's immortal. That's the only reason. It's because we have not had the opportunity, really, or the material throughout lifetimes to discover this. And we don't have enough time in these bodies. That's why the time element, right? You can look up and research the ages of people thousands of years ago, and you'll see that some of them were 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, or more. So genetically, somewhere along the line, these bodies were manipulated in more ways than one. Violated, I say. And so as they've been manipulated, certain things have been turned down, which means your age at 90, you should be considered a child. Really, seriously. And you should pretty much physically look super young. That's quite interesting. But see, now if any of us had more time in these bodies to discover, say you had 3,000 years to discover in this body, the chances are pretty darn good that you would discover at least the fact that you were a god in that body and not that body. You would. Say you would have the expansive time that you need to discover this, instead of several lifetimes to discover it. Now we all connect, and most of us don't know that we're one. We have no clue that we're one, that we're all connected. This is why you have the attitude, right? We've all experienced it more than once. And in the last, 3 years? Heavy duty. People attack other people because of the fact they don't understand that they're attacking themselves. It's strange, I know, but that's the fact, Jack. It's strange, but these people who become violent physically, in physical form, because they don't know who and what they are, they don't have a clue, and so they attack themselves. That's exactly what they're doing. War, right, is a configuration of the people of this planet to be attacking themselves. You bomb another country, you're actually bombing your country. Reason there's so much depression on this planet in this now is because of ignorance. Most of us don't have the knowledge. Does that mean they're not lovable? No. Okay. Does that mean they're hateful, destructive? No. They just don't have the knowledge. They don't have the experience. How are you going to have the experience if you don't know who and what you are? The greatest shift that any of us, right, can have in this particular lifetime is the experience of full self-realization. In other words, you know exactly who you are. There's all kinds of definitions for full self-realization. Yet ultimately, it is a fancy word for realizing that the unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient self, who you truly are, this means we must choose to go beyond every idea, every concept, and boundary which we've defined ourself to be. We must choose to go beyond every idea, every concept, and every boundary which we've defined ourselves to be. And it is an endless journey for us, where we not only realize that we are beyond this physical form, all day long, where we not only realize that we are beyond this physical form all day long, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence of the spiritual being that we truly are. We sense, some of us sense it. I'm not saying that everybody is fully clear and aware, self-aware, but everybody on this planet, they have an awareness, they feel it, a reverence of the spiritual being we truly are, that is not separate from this world around us. It is the most profound awakening process one can have around us, which actually expands within every one of us, every moment of the day, becoming an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really is no deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Just take the most profound experience of your life that you obviously remember. And then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. Take the most profound experience of your life and then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. This is a taste of what self-realization is like. Our entire experience of reality is so different. It's as if we had been an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle, and then one day we decided to pack our bags and permanently move to Hawaii. Now, some people would probably say, what's the big deal about all this stuff anyway? Really, what's the big deal about it? It's all a waste of time. The reason why it is so important to understand how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. Okay? The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further you drift away from the experience of it. In other words, the mind pulls you away from it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare us for self-realization. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare us for self-realization, other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. I believe we would all like a formula for a way to live life that is more enlightened and liberating. The problem is that every formula that works once is not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time, and then we outgrow them. This is because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, become more flexible, and diversified. It is only through absolute surrender to the infinite universe can self-realization be invoked and gifted to you. This level of surrender means you're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible. This means we must choose to let go of our beliefs. We must choose to let go of our beliefs. Yet, it is the only way we will ever find the experience of being truly free. That means no stress, no anxiety, no fear, none of it. Gone. Because we no longer are being led by the ego mind. We are the God within the body that is housed within the heart mind. I don't believe there's a gauge that's going to tell us how many of us can really let go of about everything that you've ever known to be true. It's not easy to let go of our beliefs. We all know that. Yet it is the only way we will ever find the experience of being truly free. Now, a lot of people would say that to wash it off, right? Say, oh, no, that's not possible. That's impossible. Now, anyone to begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what you actually are. When we relax, meditate, dive into the center of you, there you will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts. It comes from diving into the center of your presence, your essence, and there you can go into it for infinity. There is always another experience within the center of each experience. Eventually, this is how we become centered with our spiritual essence. In this life, it is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. If and when you notice, whenever you talk about yourself, you usually refer to the words me, my, or I. When you feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what do you notice and perceive is there? What do you notice and perceive is there? Look for a long period of time. You must choose to be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step towards uncovering the real you and is vastly deep, transforming. The longer that you can maintain a focus of inquiry, who or what I am, you're saying to yourself, who or what am I? The faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. Imagine that you are contained within a small dot. We've talked about this before. And picture this, visualize it. That you're this little tiny dot inside a circle. Say you're right in the center. Okay? Little teeny dot. The dot is the self you believe you are. The dot is the self that you believe you are. This means everything which you have identified with that can be written down on paper. Your name, friends, job, your gifts, physical appearance, your attitude, personality, and the way others see you is all part of your identity. Now, that little dot represents your mind. Little teeny dot represents your mind with all the information stored inside it. Keep focused on that dot, who you are, right? And the way others see you. This is all part of your identity. The dot represents your mind with all the information stored inside it, as well as your emotions, your memories, beliefs, and every piece of good and bad information inside your physical body. Everything you know to be true, about your reality, is contained within a tiny dot. Now, the circle around the dot represents everything in our future we have yet to see, experience, know, and learn. It contains our intuitive higher self that says who and what we are, includes the ego, mind, and body. Yet, also welcomes everything beyond it as well. Meaning, you could find yourself knowing who you are is not just your body, yet anything around you. You could feel yourself to be a tree, an animal, a plant, person, the sun, moon, star, planet. You could extend your idea of yourself into anything and everything in this entire universe. The circle represents every piece of information you don't know is on Google, as well as in all the buried ancient history books and Akashic records throughout time. Now, if you look closely at that circle, you'll see there is an outer circumference where the black edge meets the pure white background. This white background can expand into infinity. This edge represents the edge of the unknown and is where the experience of self-realization is found. We must not only let go of identifying ourselves as a body-mind, yet also be continuously expanding our sphere of what we know is the unknown and surrender to the unknowable. You can call this infinite, white, expansive space God, love, pure consciousness, source, or any word that works for you. However, the truth is that there is no word large enough to describe this boundaryless container which allows for everything in this universe to play upon. This is the great mystery of life, of this life, which every mad scientist fights with to understand. Yet, the mind will always be too small of a container to get it. The mind will always be too small of a container to get it. To fully experience and realize who and what we actually are, we must choose to release anything that can be known with the mind. We must choose to release anything that can be known with the mind and surrender into the infinite mystery behind it all. It is in this direct relaxation into our foundation that we find our spiritual connection and our boundless infinite potentiality. We instantly realize that we are a spirit being who is beyond this body, beyond time, beyond all places, shapes, and forms, in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. by living everyday life on this outer edge of infinite possibility. We become rooted in the deepest truth of who we truly are. We experience enlightened relationships with everyone in our lives because we see they are also a part of the mystery living in this great unknown. We then become this ever-growing expansion of godly experience. It is always increasing in love, joy, and curiosity. When we find this infinity within us, where all thoughts and forms abide in, we can rest in a state of pure consciousness. It is from this resting within the core of our real self when we can effortlessly allow everything to be in perfect order. Seeing the divine is orchestrating this universe to blossom exactly the way it needs to. A lot of people think that they need to, in order to experience self-realization, the experience of it can come and go in an instant. But people, I think, that I've talked to so many people that say, well, you've got to meditate for years and years and years. You don't need to meditate for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, however long, to get it. It all begins with the choice in each moment to let this go of any identification we have with this body-mind and exchange it for a more expansive experience of this life. So it's partly pure intention and part total surrender. It's partly pure intention and part total surrender. We must choose to go from thinking we are a limited human being with many problems of this world to knowing we are on a great spiritual journey through an unlimited life. We must go from thinking we are a limited human being with many problems of this world to knowing we are on a great spiritual journey through an unlimited life. This is a leap. And this leap requires absolute risk and trust. As the nature of the mind-ego identity is to try to cling to the old. It wants to find security in that which does not change, right? It wants to find security in that which does not change. Yet, everything of this world changes. And the only thing that does not change is the infinite background. We are the infinite background, the gods that we are. And the only way to real freedom in this life is through changing our perspective. When we can shift from thinking, I live in a body, to the body lives in me. Okay? Our reference point to me, myself, and I is expanded. We are no longer imprisoned to just the body and mind. We realize we are the unknowable. The identification with who we are is then found in everything. We experience life beyond the known and unknown circles of information we think are there. Self-realization is huge. It's huge. Huge. However, it is not too huge to experience it in our daily lives. For it to root and be real, we must be willing to practice integrating this expansive perspective on a physical level. We must choose to find complete relaxation with all the feelings and memories and ideas of who we are now, and everything that we will become. It is through the deepest acceptance of our small self that we can expand into our unlimited self. We are forever going to be this tiny dot that is also expanding into the infinite universe that exists around us. This is life. We have no other choice yet to accept it and relax into the deeply eternal loving and accepting divine blackboard that is behind it all. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take a slow and easy breath in through the nose. And take a slow and easy breath out of the mouth. Freedom is knowing who you really are. You are an infinite soul that has no limits on what you can manifest and experience. You are the source of pure consciousness. Your being is so vast that it can never be contained. You are freer than 1,000 golden eagles soaring into 1,000,000 purple sunsets. Let go of your smallness and fly far beyond your mind's apparent limitations. The infinite skies are yours today. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, following morning. And we'll return here tonight, June 28, 2023, around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call, and Thursday, June 29, 2023, to continue our Global Guided Meditation call, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on around you.